Did I mention my love of brushes? Hi guys, welcome to today's video, which is all about what I consider unbeatable beauty tools. And I did not want to waste any more time getting this posted because some of these tools are either limited edition or they are currently on sale. So if you want to see me talk about these different tools, lots of brushes, and apply some makeup with them before these sales run out, then let's get into it. All right, guys, before we start applying makeup, let's talk about a new tool to my collection that is designed to protect and enhance my skin. I am talking about the new winged forever eye masks from Dew Skin. I have featured these in a couple of videos already, but I am here to tell you these have already become a staple in my makeup routine. They are limited edition, but let me talk to you about the part that has to do with saving money. They're not on sale, but I have already noticed that I am using fewer Q-tips and micellar water for cleanup and shaping. And that alone means that in the long run, I am going to save money and feel better about what I am doing in terms of protecting the environment. So let's get those eye masks on so that we can start talking about some of these brushes, eye brushes, being up first. So I am just laying down some eye cream. This is actually the triple hyaluronic acid eye cream from Beauty Pie, but the beauty of these eye masks is that you can pick whatever eye cream suits your current needs. So let's get those placed down on top of the eye cream. And these are designed, as I said, to help you have really beautifully hydrated under eyes, but with regard to this shape in particular, towards helping you create a winged eye look. Now, I am not actually going to create a winged eye look today, but you will definitely see how they are helping me in terms of cleanup and achieving a shape that I want. So now that we've got those eye masks down, let's talk about some eyeshadow brushes. And for today's little demo, I am going to be using Natasha Denona's Bloom palette. So first up, let's talk about crease brushes. I want to mention two brushes in particular, one being the 15 Mini from REPHR and the other being the shodō 03. Now, both of these are available as a part of sets. There's a shodō set, and then there's also a mini set. I'm going to talk about two mini brushes, in fact. But I find that both of these are really great for defining the crease and sort of building out that transition shade. And so I am going to use one of these on each eye just to kind of show you how they work. We are going to start with the 15 Mini. Which is a little bit smaller and more tapered than the REPHR 16. And I am gonna grab a little bit of a deeper shade here. I am gonna just whip this into the crease. Again, this is my REPHR 15 Mini. I love the mini brush collection. It gives you a little bit more precision. I am just putting that in the crease and sort of blending it up. And now I am going to do the same thing with the shodō 03. And the shodō brushes are meant to be somewhat like calligraphy brushes in that they are a little more sort of thin and wispy at the tip, so you can use the brush along its side for broader work, or you can use just the tip for more precision. So I'm going to dip into that same shade and apply that with the shodō. So the shodō brush in general is really good for creating really diffused looks. So that's just something to keep in mind depending on what your eyeshadow style is. let's talk about another brush that is a part of the mini collection, which is the 01 Mini. And this is one of my absolute favorite, use it almost every day brushes. I am going to dip into a bit of a deeper shade here to build up the outer corner. You'll see that as I lay this down, because of the length of the brush hairs, I'm able to really get this entire area that is my mobile lid all the way up to the crease. And you can really focus on patting that down in sort of a straight motion if you're wanting to create a sharper edge here at the outer corner. Using my winged eye masks. So I'm tapping that in really right up against that eye mask. So the comparison that I want to do is with what I consider a really unique brush, which is the REPHR 32. So you can see that it has a really sharp top to it, but it's at an angle. And what I like about this is the ability to create a really diffused outer corner. So I am going to grab that same shade, pick that up, really sort of covering the entire end of that. And now I am going to tap that into the outer corner. And just stippling that on. It is going to create a much more sort of organic shape. So here also, I'm not relying on the eye mask in terms of the shape. I am really just tapping that in almost sort of in a circular motion to get the depth that I want in the outer corner. So I want you to see kind of the difference between those two sides. So now that we have that depth in the outer corner, I am going to take the REPHR 33, which is, they even describe as a one and done brush. So it's a flat brush that's very broad, and you can use this to pick up pigment and lay it down across the length of the lid. So I'm just going to grab a light matte shadow now and pack that onto the brush. And I am able now to just much more quickly use this nice big brush to cover the entire lid. If you like creating one and done looks, this brush could be a great brush for you to consider picking up. The final eye brushes that I want to talk to you that are a part of the REPHR collection are two of their pencil brushes. They actually have 3 pencil brushes that I have. One is rather large. These are the next 2 sizes down. You have the REPHR 03 and, oh Lord, you guys, I'm so blind. I think this is the REPHR 23 or 28. I'll put it in the description box, but just so you can see that size difference there. I forgot to add shimmer. So let's add some shimmer to both eyes over that matte that I laid down. Now I am going to grab, I believe it's Clover, on the smaller of the 2 pencil brushes, and I am picking some of that up here on my teeny tiny pencil brush, and I am using that just to sort of create a liner effect. So this is deeper than what I had applied in the outer corner. All right, guys, so I used that same tiny liner brush on this eye as well. And now I am going to grab the liner brush that is a little bit bigger, and I am going to try to run this along the bottom lash line. Okay, guys, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's peel off the eye masks and see what we are left with here. And you can see sort of the difference in the eye shape that I was able to create. And yes, I feel that my under eyes look nicely hydrated, and definitely am not dealing with the fallout that I am a little bit further down my face. I am going to touch up my mascara, and then we will come back and talk about some of these complexion brushes. I'll be right back. All right, guys, mascara is on, and I went ahead and applied foundation because I will not be recommending a foundation tool to you today because if you watch me, you know my hands are my favorite foundation applicator. So, fuzz. So we are going to move on to concealer. I am going to take some of my Tower 28 concealer, which is a serum concealer, so it's a little bit on the thinner side. And I am going to pick that up with what I think is the absolute best concealer brush on the planet. This is the BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy Kitten Paw. I'll put the official name down below so you can find it. But I feel like this is absolutely the perfect shape for applying concealer because it's got this nice little slant to it, so you can sort of press and you can get up into the inner corner nicely, and it sharpens up at the edge so that if you want to use this to work on your eyeshadow line a bit, you can. Or just tapping that in. You know, I picked up the concealer off the back of my hand onto the brush and working that into the inner corner to brighten. I have used this concealer sparingly. I don't think you need a lot, but this application process will keep it from creasing or keep creasing to a minimum. You know, this isn't magic. No magic, no miracles, just real faces here. So I am using this to sort of refine my edges a little bit. But that is the concealer brush. And now we're going to go and apply powder. And I am going to recommend a powder brush to you. And this is also a part of the BK Beauty line. This is the Precision Powder Brush. And I am going to grab my original formula Givenchy Prism Libre loose setting powder and swirl this around in that. And you can see it's got this really lovely domed shape to it so that you can really press this in nicely. If there are particular areas where you want to really focus, creating a more blurred effect and brightening, depending on the powder that you're using. I'm not really applying this all over my face. I'm keeping this concentrated really where I want it. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more and start on the center of my forehead and then work outward. I think this is a great size for a powder brush. I do have other powder brushes that are much bigger if you want to just put powder all over your face, but I really prefer to, I don't know, really just powder where I feel like I need powder. I mean, I don't really feel like I need it, you know, out here underneath the cheekbone, and I don't feel like I need it all over my cheek. I'm going to apply blush there in just a moment. So let's talk then about blush brushes. I have two here that I'm going to recommend to you. One is the BK Beauty Mini Contour Brush, and this is great for cream blush products. And then I also have the REPHR 19 brush, which is great, and I use for powder blushes. So cream, powder. I don't think you have to use these just with blush. I think that you can use them with other products. For instance, maybe contour would be good. But these are my blush brush go-tos. And I am going to apply some pigmented blush so that you can really see the action here. We are going to start off with the bright red blush from Tower 28, but I am going to do the thing that is just as important as the product and the tools itself, and that is I am picking up blush on the brush. There, you can see that there. Wow. And now I am going to prime the brush, tap it into the back of my hand. This is going to remove some of the product. It's going to help ensure that the product applies more evenly. It really creates a much more natural, I'll use the word line, but I think the point is that it doesn't create a line. you know, you're able to apply it and it come off much more sort of natural, not like a stripe. And the stippling is important there too, but you definitely always want to prime the brush and get all the extra product off the brush. So that is bright red blush. I believe this one's called Finest Hour. Really love this. I've got to, okay, stop applying. Stop. Okay, now I am gonna, look at this. Wow. Okay, now I am going to take my REPHR 19, which is the one that I mentioned is great for powder, and I am going to use Amore from Say. This is their new baked formula blush, very pigmented. I am going to tap into that. You can see that there. I'm also going to tap this off on the back of my hand instead of just sort of tapping onto the pan, but I want it to be distributed evenly across the brush. And I'm even going to use stippling motions here as well. I think that that really helps create a much more natural line. It looks more sort of blown out, less harsh. So hopefully that is showing up well. I'm going to pick up a little bit more. This is just for, you know, filming under the bright lights, but I think that's a really natural looking, beautiful blush glow. But we'll add just a touch more. So I'm using almost no pressure at all now because I've already got quite a bit on. God, I love this Say blush. Yo, this is the best blush ever. Oh my God, I absolutely adore it. I mean, the tool is great, okay? But oh my God, that blush. Okay, I have now talked you through all of the tool products that I wanted to today. You know, this is not an overly long, complicated list of brushes. I really just wanted to highlight some that are staples that I use all the time. I hope that you have found this video useful. I hope that if you are interested in some of these brushes, that you are able to get them on sale over the next couple of days. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.